Do you want to make a delicious Neapolitan style pizza with a fat, crispy and light crust like this? No wood fire ovens and no pizza stones? Then look no further. First, be some random prick like this, tiny long hair back and wear an apron. Make sure you wear your glasses to assert your dominance. So, first, fill up a jug with warm water, and I mean warm. That's about 3 to 5 mils. Next, get your flour, and what I'm using here is strong white bread flour. You can try whipping out plain flour, but the bread flours contain more gluten, which will help it become stretchier and stronger. Here we have instant dry yeast. Traditionally, Neapolitan pizzas use fresh yeast, but it's fucking hard to find. Some salt, sugar, and a bit of olive oil. Measure out 500 grams of flour, or 499 like I did. So generally how I work it out is this: 100% flour, 65% water, and the amount of yeast depends on how slow you want it to rise, but you should do about 1.5 teaspoons for this though. I did 1 because I am stupid. Oh, and 3% salt, which in this case is about 15 grams. Get a nice mixing bowl, knock on it a little, and here is where I show you how damn easy this is. Teaspoon of yeast into the water, tablespoon of sugar into the water. Stir it up real nice like, and just set it down over there. And here we pour the flour into the bowl. Make a well in the center because why not, and pour your yeasty mixture inside. Forget to mix in the salt into the flour beforehand and shamelessly stir it a little into the side. Just slowly incorporate the flour into the water, and I'm using the back of a wooden spoon to stir because it's really easy to clean afterwards. Just keep stirring until the dough looks ugly but almost coming together, and swoop, done! Now clear all the clatter off the table, you lazy pig, to make some space. And then dump all the contents of the bowl onto it. Look at this abomination. Don't worry, it'll be fine soon. So now what you want to do is use the palm of your hand, almost like a claw, and just press into it. Just press and keep on pressing. Bring the abomination together again and just keep squashing all of its tiny little streams out. Rinse and repeat until it starts to come together nicely. You can dust a little more flour if it's too wet. Mine wasn't, I was just trying to show off. And just keep pressing. Mop the flour with it if you want. Really, you can just have fun with it. Use your knuckles, beat it up a little, or a lot, stretch it out, fold it back together, press it, punch it, slap it, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, throw it. Just keep releasing all your problems onto it, all your pent up anger. But don't feel too bad, it's not immoral if you can't hear it cry. So, as you can see, it's starting to smoothen out a lot. But you see those gluten bonds ripping? Needs more time. And another way you can test is if you stretch the dough out so damn thin you can see light through it and it starts ripping, the boy isn't ready yet. So give it a little 1-2, the Tyson treatment. The old dad's home and he's drunk again. Keep working on it and you can once again check using the window pane effect. Stretch it out, and if it's smooth and you can poke your finger without it tearing, it is ready. So to shape the ball, simply gather it together and begin pulling the sides downwards with both hands. It will feel natural, trust me, for once in your life. Just turn the ball and repeat this process again. As you pull down, just make sure to seal it at the bottom. Pull down and seal at the bottom. Repeat this until the top begins to smoothen out like a white mushroom cap or some kind of weird ball of mozzarella. Then turn it upside down and make sure the bottom is even. It doesn't have to be nearly as smooth as the top, but just make sure it's even. Now, for the bowl, scrape off all the nasties from the sides and bottom, and you can just dump it out on the table to clean for later. Doesn't matter right now. Olive oil in, and grease the bowl evenly. This stops the dough from sticking. Now, very gently lift your baby, keeping the shape, and just drop it in from a safe distance, like you would do with your normal child. Touch of olive oil on top and grease. This stops the cling film from sticking. Now cling film on, and make sure it seals the dough from any air. If you don't seal it, the dough will form a crust, which will make things difficult later on. Cover with a cloth to keep it warm and let it rise for about an hour at room temperature. I like to keep it near my heater because it's fucking cold here. It should have nearly doubled in size, and now just peel the cling film off carefully, like a charcoal face mask if you will, with a young hip people. Dust the table with the same bread flour, a little on the dough, and slowly bring it out of the bowl with your fingers and onto the table. It's fine if it becomes all oblong-like. In fact, the oblongitude will help us divide it more evenly. So, whip out your favorite kitchen knife and try to mark even thirds. The way to cut this is simply press down, and that's it. Stop. If you want to measure them on a scale, you can. Just make sure to dust the scale with some flour so it doesn't stick. Now repeat the same shaping process as before, being extra careful not to push too much air out. If the bottom is all nasty like this, just use your fingers to seal and close all those ugly rough surfaces. If the bottom is not even, it will make it very difficult to get an even shape when stretching the pizza. Like this is perfect. Now leave your bowls for a minute for once in your life and grab yourself an old tray. This will go in the fridge so it doesn't have to be oven safe or anything. Pretty much any tray that fits the dough balls is fine. The reason why I use a tray and not a bowl is so I can lift up the dough balls easily with a spatula without knocking the air out. Dust, 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 and place them evenly on the tray like so. Touch of olive oil on the cling so that the cling film doesn't stick. This is very important. It will stick if you don't do this. Come on. Cling film on and seal. Get yourself any old baking sheet or cookie sheet or scrap metal or anything to cover it really. I won't use cloth because cloth in fridge, ew, disgusting, kill yourself. If you can't wait 2 to 3 days, cover the dough balls with a cloth and let it rise at room temperature for about 1 to 2 hours. But I recommend just covering it and chucking it in the fridge straight away. The flavors will develop beautifully in those 3 days. To clean your table, simply wipe off any excess flour, get a wet blue J cloth, and surely, like magic, it's gone. Simple.